Sponsored by Southwest Pools and Spas.
Joining us tonight, I'm Carolyn McEnroe. We're out at the Coliseum Fairgrounds for a special edition of KLST News at 6 tonight. It is Military Appreciation Night, and I have a U.S. Marine Corps member with me. Joe Villalobos is here. It's so nice to get to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about what you do now. You're a Federal Veterans Affairs police officer, which is really interesting. But let's go back to start. You grew up in Corpus Christi.
Yes,
You've
ma'am.
moved to San Angelo because your wife's family's here, and we're glad to have you. But tell us about how you first got into the military and give us an idea of that background.
Yes, ma'am. So when I was a kid, I just always wanted to do something bigger, kind of get away from home. I knew college wasn't for me, and I wanted to just try something a little bit harder. I learned about the military, and everybody told me. I was like, well, let's try to do that. So that's the route that I ended up going, and I did 8 years.
All right, so after training, you got in, and you've also have done 2 tours in Iraq and 2 tours in Afghanistan.
Yes,
Give
ma'am.
us an idea of what you did.
So the first time when I was in Iraq, 2 times I worked on aircrafts. So I was working on C-130s. So I was an ordnance guy.
I have to tell you this, in the heat, I've heard guys talk about that, about how hot it would get on the flight line, like so hot that you couldn't even hold your tools.
Yes, so that flight line, it's a metal flight line out there, and if you stand in one place too long, your boots would start to stick to the ground where they would start to melt. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So
I don't think people have an idea of how that works.
No, the first time I stepped off a plane, I felt like somebody had a blow dryer just in my face. It was just dry heat all the time.
All right. Kept the C-130s in the air.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then tell us about Afghanistan.
So my 2 trips to Afghanistan, I switched platforms. So I went from working on aircrafts, or from planes to helicopters. So I was
which has a lot more moving parts, which is even more maintenance. So you
Yes,
must have
ma'am.
been busy.
So I did all of the ammunition, so all the rockets, bombs, all that stuff. That was my job. I was in charge of all of that and loading all those things on the aircraft.
How interesting. And you learn that in training? Do you kind of learn on the fly? How do you learn all
A
of
little
that?
bit of both. They tell you about it in training, but until you're actually doing it firsthand, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into or how big some of these things actually are.
How interesting. Tell us about the people, the chances you got to meet the people who live in that area.
The people out there were amazing. I mean, you have a lot of good and bad out there like anything else, but the people, they were just so wholesome, very nice people. We met a lot of villagers. We had our interpreters and stuff out there, and we made a lot of really good friends. It's very unfortunate what was happening in that area at that time, but there's definitely a lot of great people out there.
Well, we're glad. We thank you for your service. We're glad you were able to do what you did. Fast forward, you moved to San Angelo, and you were an SAPD officer for years.
Yes, ma'am. I did that for almost 10 years, worked for SAPD on patrol, worked nights the entire time, and I loved it. Heard about an opportunity to work at the VA. Being a veteran myself, I wanted to work closer to veterans and still be a police officer. So it was a great opportunity for me to shift over that way.
All right, and tell us what you do now in San Angelo.
So I work at the San Angelo Clinic, right across from the mall. I'm the only police officer that's assigned there. So I just make sure everything's secure, make sure everybody's safe, and make sure our veterans have everything they need.
And talk to people as another veteran, which
Yes.
I'm sure is a big help.
Yes, ma'am. It definitely helps me get my foot in the door to build that rapport with everybody.
All right, Joe, thank you so much. Joe Villalobos, Marine Corps. We're not going to call you a veteran. And Marine Corps, they don't ever retire. We can't call you retired
Yes,
either,
ma'am.
right?
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
Member of the Marine Corps, Joe, thank you so much for your service. We appreciate it. Again, Military Appreciation Night tonight at the Coliseum, and dozens of members will be here watching the rodeo performance tonight. We'll be back at 10 to talk with some of the performers and show you the highlights.
This rodeo update is sponsored by Twin Mountain Fence.